A broken land, a broken land. What does the spin make you dizzy? Can you help yourself when nothing else will? Can you help yourself when nothing else will?
Next one you're going to ask me about is just don't set the table for lunch, right?
Yes. Yes. Let's take a listen to that.
Okay. This was a precursor, by the way, before you do that, to twice a day.
I should fall to the floor and thank you for the fear in my heart each day, for showing me what cannibals are, for making the Mona say, ah, you've done it, you've let him in, you joined the factory with your lame raping ancestor. Is that Desperado's monogram I read?
I should fall to the floor and thank you for the fear in my heart each day, for showing me what cannibals are, for making Demona say, ah, you've done it, you've let him in, you've joined the factory with your lame raping ancestor. Is that Desperado's monogram I read? Well, I'm trying to decide to continue to say what I've got to say. Well, I'm trying to protect you again. That's cover money you can't pay. You're a butcher looking for his past. You better get some seeds in the plow. I'm not going to set up your table. Get out of my shed right now. I was under the covers on a Saturday morning with my eyeball at a hole, watching Desperado fix the blade for the embryo. He said it smells like waffles in the kitchen. Could that be your Desdemo? He said, oh no, please let me in the covers. And I just couldn't say no. Okay, this I recognize. This is my family. This is my father joining me in being scared of my mother's anger and not knowing how to deal with it. Now you might think that under the covers I was only watching the scene. Really I was thinking about the fear of death and equations for my Thanatos machine. Thanatos I think is the death urge or something. I don't even remember, something that philosophers talk about. Desperado said, you're too much, can I help you with your math? I said, sure, but get your hands out of my pocket. Desperado started to laugh. Now about that time there was a knock on the door. Demona said, breakfast now. Desperado said, quick, start up your machine. You know, we'll get out of this somehow. Just then my machine started knocking and I quickly looked at the screen. It said, you're in a madman's grasp. Take an emergency dream. Didn't say mad woman's grasp, did it? Mad man.
Right.
That was many years ago. My machine never worked again and Desperado had the blueprints burned. I finally got everybody out of my shed and I found some new equations to learn. Desperado now works in a factory shop where he gets his ideas in turn. Desdemona left and never cooked again. At least something was learned. Wow. Okay, that's just basically stream of consciousness, I guess. But he gets points because he's talking about stuff. Family stuff, even indirectly.
Right, one of the secrets.
Next one is something to move on.
Something to move on, yes. Let's also listen to this one real quick.
If I could only get up to where the powerful meet, so I would never have to see again the scene on that street. I closed my eyes to forswear any peace or retreat. I was too young to see that the closed eyes made the confusion complete. Happiness for people is not something you can earn. That there's an excuse for everything I finally have learned. Finally I can get back to where my head was turned as I turn when you took me to the basement, to the room where cans were stored. In case of war, you told me, this is our room and board. I should have stood and told you then, it was a useless hoard, as useless as you pointing to the sky for the Damoclean sword. Married to the promise of hitting her right back. Married to the numbers in a New York office rack, thinking that a Kennedy could take the species off its track. Who did you think was applauding your genuflect to that?
There were many roads onto Long Island when the new bridge had just been built. Yeah, this is about coming back from a family trip, and my mother, I almost said my wife, call my psychiatrist, and my mother. My father didn't know one of the secrets of happiness, which is you don't have to catch the hand grenade.
You don't have to catch the hand grenade.
Right. So if someone's, or another way of saying that is, you don't have to accept an invitation to a fight.
Okay.
If he had known that her children would discover, his children would determine whether she was toxic by whether she was toxic on him, that would have made a huge difference. But instead, he was just such a decent, friendly man, he couldn't believe he was getting abused like this. So in this trip, we'd come across what's the bridge? Just been built over to Connecticut. Anyway, Throg's Neck, thank you. And we were coming through down Northern Boulevard, and she was so provocative, he pulled over and said, get out of the car.
You're kidding. And
she got out of the car. It was it was in Great Neck or Little Neck, which is on the way to Manhasset. And we drove on. And it was sort of like it was in the evening, and it was like there were some stores or something around. Then after a while, he stopped, turned around, went back, and she had walked into the diner. I don't know if she was sitting to order a cup of coffee or whatever. So it's funny, this tape doesn't have the actual ejection in it. Because it stopped, the tape stopped, but the song sure did. There are many roads onto Long Island when the new bridge had just been built. From it, the car turned down the boulevard. The poor shops are on it still. The words of those in the front of the car became more whimpering than shrill. I wondered if we would get to the house before another masquerade of will. Married to the promise of hitting her right back, married to the numbers on a New York office rack, thinking that a Kennedy could take the species off its track. Who did you think was applauding your genuflect to that? If I could only get up to where the powerful meet so I would never have to see again the scene on that street. That summarized my youth. That was Harvard to me. I would get to Harvard and go beyond my family. I wouldn't have that problem anymore. Mm-hmm. I went back for my 25th reunion, and I was walking down Massachusetts Avenue in Cambridge, and I started to cry. And I said, it wasn't here, Dad. And what I meant by that was the hope he had for me and the hope I had for myself was that with Harvard, H-A-R with the V, V-A-R with the D, that would somehow lift me out and put all that behind me, which I'm sure, I'm not the first person to feel that way, And there it is. So talk about the bad stuff. Give them a point. It says right here, if I could only get up to where the powerful meet so I would never have to see again the scene on that street. I closed my eyes to forbear any peace or retreat. I was too young to see that the closed eyes made the confusion complete. Happiness for people is not something you can earn, that there's an excuse for everything I finally have learned. Finally, I can get back to where my head was turned, and as it turns back, I'm alone where I've returned. So that's saying I'm processing my past, I'm alone, and I'm still here. Which is, a lot of people can't do that. When you took me to the basement, to the room where cans were stored, in case of war you told me this is our room and board. I should have stood and told you then it was a useless hoard, as useless as you're pointing to the sky for the Damoclean sword. So, give him a point for that. The next one is death as false issue. I have no idea. I'm not really sure what that means. That's just another, I don't know. Good. Anybody who thinks they're dying doesn't think it's a false issue.
Well, let's listen. Let's listen to a snippet of this one, and then watch the video of your last card.
Oh, okay, because there was derivative.
Let's do that.
You said I'll never go. You went that far. I said I'll never know where wise men are. I came back to this wall for a moment, just to see if what I'd written is clear. It says you can lament on cement forever, but don't follow anyone out of here. Brainstorm stumbled through the temple hall. I took dictation in. He spat against the stenciled wall and asked the changer when. But changer, wait, I said, I'm tired of stenciling. Man and God is not enough. Now I see it was just a backyard cowboy game that made me look for stronger stuff.
You shuffled your stack of dreams and sat down at my side. They started the limousine. We played into the night. I played my last card at the runway when I said I'll see you soon. When I saw you smile and fly into the sky, I knew you played your last card too. You played your queen of gold on my ivory jack. I said I think I'll hold. You folded into the pack. I played my last card at the runway when I said I'll see you soon. When I saw you smile and fly into the sky, I knew you played your last card too.
You said I'll never go, you went that far. I said I'll never know where wise men are. I came back to this wall for a moment just to see if what I'd written is clear. It says you can lament on cement forever. Sorry, but I like that. But don't follow anyone out of here. Brainstorm stumbled through the temple hall. I took dictation in. He spat against the stenciled wall and asked the changer when. I said, but wait, changer, I'm tired of stenciling man and God is not enough. Now I see it was just a backyard cowboy game that made me look for stronger stuff. So, no points with that song. Let's go on to What Does a Spin Make You Dizzy?
All right, let's listen to that too. You said there's a video?
Oh, the
related to this?
Stand at the Sky, I think, yeah. So let's watch that.
Let's watch that.
Yeah, that comes from this.
A broken man holds a broken pencil. A broken land. What does the spin make you dizzy? Can you help yourself when nothing else will? Can you help yourself when nothing else will? He woke up on a planet, lived with animals who mourned at the passing of time, about which he was warned. It's flesh, they said when they saw him, and they pointed at his face. Yes, poor flesh, he said, pointing right back at them. Just a field of fear in Spain.
Columbus called out your name. You stood and pulled his anchor from the sea. Then you drove 1,000,000 wagons across the plain. You learned it isn't easy to be free. So stand at the sky, throw open the door. Here's something calling you beyond, saying this is the way to the earth's last shore, and it's time for you to fly on. You say your work here has just begun. You've got 1,000 reasons to stay, but your eyes now see So stand at the sky, throw open the door. Hear something calling you beyond, saying this is the way to the earth's last shore, and it's time for you to fly on.
A broken man holds a broken pencil. As I look at this now, having looked at those ones that talk about, this is sort of like the astronomer, what does the spin make you dizzy? And then the line, can you help yourself when nothing else will? Can you help yourself when nothing else will? That was a question. I didn't know. I don't think the 24-year-old knew if he could help himself when nothing else could. I'm not sure.
Well, it's interesting that line is repeated twice. It kind of breaks away from his usual writing. So there's an extra emphasis on that.
Let's do When I Woke Up, I Was Hungry.
Let's listen.
Okay.
Yes, when I woke up, I was hungry. It is a common trait. I quickly recorded down my dreams and told my hunger to wait until I wrote down where I was, got down its time and size. I felt somebody poking at my elbow and I opened up my eyes. He said, I am a conductor, you are riding on a train. Would you please give me your ticket? Kindly refrain from typing in your lap. This is a no-typing car. Just where do you think this train is going? Do you think you're going that far?
Yeah, it's written down here as a precursor to Excuse Me, Miss. Yeah. By the time it got to Excuse Me, Miss, it was a spaceship.
A spaceship.
When I woke up, I was hungry. It is a common trait. I quickly recorded down my dreams and told my hunger to wait. Until I wrote down where I was, I got down its time and size. I felt somebody poking at my elbow, and I opened up my eyes. He said, I am a conductor. You're riding on a train. Would you please give me your ticket and kindly refrain from typing in your lap? This is a no-typing car. Just where do you think this train is going? Do you think you're going that far? Well, I handed him the paper. I took them from the machine, which is my dream, right? He said, oh, I'm very sorry, sir, for making such a scene. Would you please step into the lounge and freshen up for tea? You're expected in the dining car at 3:30. Well, he was standing very straight. He looked my ticket up and down. At first, I thought he was going to cry. Instead, he just sat down. He was shaking all over. This is the end, he said. When I told you we were on the train, I must have lost my head. By now, I was very interested in what was going on, and I watched him shrink from out of sight until completely gone. Then I remembered I was hungry, decided I would scrounge, so I picked my ticket up off the seat and headed for the lounge. So the conductor disappeared. As I was walking by the seats, a song lyric came to me. I said, my friends, when the sky is clear, you can really see. Something hard hit my stomach and nearly fell on my face. A voice spoke from near my ear and said, remember, time is space. I'm not.
It's great imagery.
Okay. No points. No, he doesn't get any.
No points for this
no
one.
Secrets of Happiness points. What's next? Oh, try to think of wise men. Okay.
Yes, I do want to hear this one. You said there's a video, right? Plastic Cowboy?
I guess we have to hear the snippet first, right?
Yeah, let's do the snippet and then watch that.
A box of letters in my old room I now think about. How they got in my room I sometimes have to doubt. I was very careful to stay awake half the night, turning my head to keep all attacks in sight. I picked up a letter, it said we can try. If you're not a witch and me a ghost in the sky, if I hadn't given up trying on a bathroom floor, when I see you I remember it, I can't say more. When my head is calling it, I sometimes wish I could get back to that room if that did any good. Look for her letter, hold it in my hand. The answer that didn't say don't come back until you can.
She lies there in the morning and she hears a whistle scream. She doesn't need a warning, she just wants back her dream. Frightened birds take to the sky, toys fall here below, and one I recognize is getting up awful slow. Plastic cowboy gallop, get that angel off the track. Get her halo back up, get new wings on her back. Keep pulling on her string, only real angels die. She's just about to sing your favorite lullaby. She sits before her mirror, my diamond in her hand. One last souvenir from a cold and lonesome land. My voice cries out from in the stone, you're free, get up and run. But she turns to the window and throws it at the sun. Plastic cowboy gallop, get that angel off the track. Get her halo back up, get new wings on her back. Keep pulling on her string, only real angels die. She's just about to sing your favorite lullaby.
This right off the top. Try to think of wise. I like this song, this melody too. This is one I'm going to work on. Try to think of wise men that you can stop and call. That's what I tried to do. I tried hard to think of wise men that I could stop and call. My poor dad, paying. One of the letters that I have that's in my attic says, "Don't expect any inheritance, I spent it all on your tuition." He had to make a lot of sacrifices. I get to Harvard, which is, as we know, was a fantasy of that, okay, everything's fine now. And I had the guts to tell him I wanted to see a psychologist. So the poor guy had to pay for that too. So I tried to think of wise men that I could stop and call. A bus arrives to take you, but you know that you can't recall. One time it arrived when you hadn't already quit digging numbers from your pockets, and you know you can't know yet. So in other words, you don't have any numbers to call. My mind fills with spinning, only one thing to say. There's no use in trying to be any other way. Coming out comes out. You once had time. Now time has you. Can you make that rhyme? What does that mean? If you knew the sides in this 20th century debate, maybe you'd make me tea and hold my hand to meditate. I wish I'd had somebody to hold my hand and meditate. Then I'd stand still talking, throw my hands out far, throw my memory into space, one more star.
That's nice, actually.
Tonight is Tuesday. It was 3 days ago. I started writing. It was 2 days ago. I sat into the night with my sound in my head. Now it's tonight, and I'm out walking instead. A box of letters in my old room I now think about. How they got in my room I sometimes have to doubt. I was very careful to stay awake half the night, turning my head to keep all attacks in sight. I picked up a letter. It said, we can try. If you're not a witch and me a ghost in the sky. If I hadn't given up trying on a bathroom floor. When I see you, I remember it. I can't say more. So, okay, he gets a point here. Because this is when my parents got divorced, I had to come home to my room and get my stuff out. And there was a box of letters in my room, which were the old love letters of my parents. Which is the box of letters in my old room I now think about. When my head is calling it, I sometimes wish I could get back to that room if that did any good. Look for her letter, hold it in my hand. The answer that didn't say, don't come back until you can. So he was saying, it said we can try if you're not a witch and me a ghost in the sky. If I hadn't given up, if I hadn't given up trying on a bathroom floor, when I see you I remember it, I can't say more. So then she didn't write back and say, well, don't come back until you can. What does this have to do with Tuesday night or the guitar in the basement? Now the guitar in the basement, why is the guitar in the basement? Because I didn't have permission. If it hadn't been for marijuana, I wouldn't have had permission from the universe to take the guitar out of the basement. I didn't have permission. I wasn't allowed to. I didn't allow myself that help. And that's what this is about right here, that I was stuck. But the marijuana released the tightness, the grip. One of the secrets of happiness is to listen to the silent tapes running in the head. Work all the time. What right did I have to pick up a musical instrument and play it? Furthermore, we don't want to know those secrets. I think we protect them. It's because the psychologists say people are heavily defended. Well, tell me about the time your mother beat me. Oh, only when I deserved it. That's called heavily defended. So I was heavily defended. There's something very revolutionary about, and in our culture too. Thank God. We listened to the troubadour, Jagged Little Pill.
Mm-hmm.
J. Lima Fenton, Slim Stevens. It's powerful stuff. It's not for nothing that. Maybe these were locked up. Maybe I knew where these were, but they were staying there until my parents were long gone. Because so that's why Slim gets points right here. What does this have to do with Tuesday night? Or the guitar in the basement? Or a picture in sight? Or a jumping mind? That's me. They call election rings. If it helps, give me time. If time help brings. Your song needs a chorus. The tuba player calls. I was a tuba player. I had permission to play the tuba in 5th grade. Underline the theme with one final recall. With one piece of what I want, I can put them both down. With one piece of what I want. You say wanting is having. I say how far down. I don't know. He's working, but he gets credit for that.